Welcome to Built for Queens, a podcast where we talk about leadership, purpose, and the moments that shape who we become. This space is especially for women of color who are navigating leadership, building something meaningful, and sometimes even questioning if what they're doing is correct. If you ever felt the pressure of trying to figure it all out while still showing up for others, this space is for you. So, welcome. I'm your host, Amber Jones, and through this podcast, we'll explore leadership not just through theory, but through real life experiences, tough decisions, and the lessons that come when we step into our purpose. Today, I want to talk about something that many of us have experienced, but don't always say out loud, and that is taking risks even when we are unsure. Leadership often requires us to step forward before we fully feel ready. Sometimes we're asked to make decisions without having all the answers. Sometimes the path isn't clear, and sometimes the risks feel bigger than the safety of staying where we are. But growth rarely ever happens in certainty. There have been moments in my own journey where I had to move forward without knowing exactly how things will work out. Moments where the safest choice would have been to stay comfortable. But leadership, especially purpose driven leadership, often requires faith, courage, and a willingness to step into the unknown. Taking a risk does not mean you're fearless. What it does mean is that you're willing to move forward even when doubt is present. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about what it means to take risks in leadership, how uncertainty can actually shape stronger leaders, and why sometimes the very thing we're afraid to do is the thing that moves us closer. Today's episode is about something very real in my life right now. So let's talk about it. And when I say right now, I mean literally at this moment. Taking a leap of faith even when you're unsure. So recently, I made the big decision that I was going to leave my job. A very stable job, a job where I was getting paid bi-weekly, paying my bills, doing all the things that a responsible adult should be doing, right? And I decided, you know what? I'm leaving. I decided to leave my job and fully commit to Queens Empowerment Academy, my girls' empowerment organization. Now, let me be clear. Taking a leap of faith sounds beautiful. We see it on social media all the time. Take that leap of faith. You got it, girl, right? It sounds beautiful. It sounds so inspiring. But when you're actually the one standing at the edge of that decision, it can be very scary. It can feel very heavy, trust me. But I had to realize something. For a long time, I was balancing multiple responsibilities. I was working, I was managing other commitments, and at the same time trying to grow my nonprofit. And while I was grateful for the stability that came along with working, I also knew that my vision for Queens required more of me. It required time, focus, creativity, and leadership in a way that I couldn't fully give while holding to something else. There came a moment where I had to ask myself a really hard question. Am I going to keep playing it safe? Or am I going to fully commit to the vision that I say I believe in? The vision, the purpose that God placed on my heart. And I'm not going to pretend that the decision was easy, because it was not. Anytime you walk away from something stable, the questions start coming in. Will things work out? How am I going to pay my bills? Am I making the right decision? What if things don't go the way I expect? Taking risks in leadership doesn't mean you don't feel fear, right? It means you choose to move forward even when you are fearful. For me, this wasn't just about leaving a job. It was about trusting that the work I've been building through Queens matters enough to go all in. I created Queens Empowerment Academy to build safe spaces for girls to help them grow in confidence, leadership, and sisterhood. And at some point, I realized something very important. I encourage girls all the time in programming to be courageous, to believe in themselves, and to step into their potential. So I had to ask, am I willing to do the same? Leadership sometimes means modeling the very courage we ask others to have. So I took the leap. Not because everything was guaranteed, because baby, it was not. Not because the path is perfectly clear. It is not clear at all. There's many trees in the path, right? But because purpose sometimes asks you to move forward before certainty arrives. One thing I've learned through this journey is that leadership doesn't always come with a clear blueprint. Rarely it does. Sometimes you don't have every step planned out. Sometimes you don't have every answer. And sometimes the only thing you have is the belief that what you're building matters. I think a lot of people wait until they feel completely ready. And before you know it, they never move forward. Because the truth is, many of us figure things out as we go. You must learn through experience. You must adjust when things don't work out, and you grow as new challenges come up, and that is okay. You may never feel ready, but what do? If you never feel ready, you don't move. And if you don't move, what happens then? You stay stagnant? That's not what we do over here, right? We have to move forward. Leadership isn't about having everything perfectly mapped out. Would that make you feel comfortable? Yes. Is that ideal? Yeah. But let's think in reality. That hardly ever happens. It's about having the courage to take the next step, trusting that you'll gain the clarity you need along the way. For me, this leap wasn't about having a perfect plan, because let's be honest, I have no other plan outside of the fact that I believe in my vision and my mission wholeheartedly. I believe it so much that I'm willing to let go of something so stable to pursue what God has placed on my heart to do. For me, it was about believing in my mission enough to keep moving forward, even while I'm still learning and growing through the process. Maybe you're listening to this and there's something in your life that you've been thinking about doing, a dream, a new direction, a risk you've been considering, but fear, responsibility, or uncertainty keeps you where you are. And that's understandable. I'm not disputing that. But sometimes growth happens when we stop waiting for perfect timing and start trusting the vision that has been placed right in front of us. Purposeful leadership isn't always about having all the answers. Sometimes it's about having the courage to move forward anyway. So I'll leave you with this question. What leap might you need to take in your own life, even if you're still a little unsure? What is that leap? Point that out, recognize it, and then decide for yourself, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to move forward, although you don't have all the answers? Or are you going to stay still and stagnant? Think about it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Built for Queens. If today's conversation resonated with you, share with another woman who might need the reminder that she is built for more. This is Built for Queens, and we build with courage, clarity, and community. I'll see you next episode.